What's up? Happy Friday. Welcome into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabari here with Mark Zinno. Mark, how's your Friday going so far? I know you had a good day.
It's been fantastic. It's a beautiful sunny day here in the A as you departed for more
Yes,
northern pastures. We're going to get a 75-degree day here down in Atlanta, and we're going to cash some tickets tonight, LJ. That's what we're doing.
I'm all about it. All about it, Zinno. Okay, so let's just talk about your hot streak for a second because how many play of the days have you won in a row?
See, now you're just trying to
Let's
mush
toot
me.
your horn a
Okay?
little.
That's what you're trying. You're just trying to mush me that my last five PODs have all hit. So I'm on a little bit of a heater right now, which is the number one sign where you should probably fade me tonight. But I feel really good. I feel really good about my play of the day today. Like it's one that when it's the kind of thing when you look at it, it jumps off the screen at you, and then you just start looking for little pieces of information, and you're like, that helps my case. That helps
Mm.
my case. That oh my god, this is just it's calling. The gods are calling to me on this one.
The gambling gods are just
Yes,
calling your name, Zinno. They're calling
that's
your
right.
name. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. Before, though, make sure you subscribe to Pickswise YouTube channel, download it on Spotify. There's so many ways that you can listen to the show every single day. Today, NHL Ice Picks. There's 7 games on the slate tonight. We got quite a few games that between Zinno and I, we're covering them all. We have Brian Scalabrine coming on all the way from Boston to talk a little NBA. There's 10 or so games on the slate in the NBA schedule tonight. We have some college basketball predictions. Jared's not here. So someone has to go dumpster diving, right? I have a dumpster dive game. You have a
Same.
dumpster dive game. And then we can't end with our Pickswise 3-star play of the day and our best bets of the day because Zeno's on an absolute heater right now. 5
Don't
straight
talk it.
play of the day.
Don't talk about a streak. It's like talking to a pitcher in the middle of a no hitter. Don't do that.
That
Don't
actually
do
is
that.
true. Sorry about it. I'm sorry. Why are we even talking about it? Why do you even say anything about it? I don't know.
I was
Um,
my own fault.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's bet it. NHL. I'll let you kick this one off because you have a couple good bets going on right now on the NHL slate.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Minnesota Wild at the Buffalo Sabres. Look, I've taken advantage of two trends in the NHL this year. One of them is really good teams against really bad teams and them taking advantage of it. And I'm going to back the Minnesota Wild here on the three-way money line against the bad Buffalo Sabres team. Minnesota is actually averaging over a goal more per game than Buffalo is. Minnesota just snapped a 4-game losing streak against Philadelphia the other day, but this is where they start to pick it back up. This is too good of a team to get back on a losing streak. So I like the momentum in the spot that they're playing, and they clearly get better goaltending as they only allow 3.1 goals per game. Buffalo's up near 3.5 goals per game here. And not only that, I do like the first period over. That's the other trend I've been backing this year between these two teams. Minnesota hitting 66% to first period overs this year. And 3 in a row they're coming off of 4 to 5 where they all hit first period overs. And that's despite losing 4 out of the last 5 games, Lauren. So they're still scoring early. They get a lead early on this Buffalo team, which I predict that they will do. They'll be able to finish this thing off. And I'll take the three-way money line. And again, really not at a bad price for Minnesota on the three-way money line is I only have to lay minus 125. So I feel like I'm in a good spot here at a good price.
Yeah, I like that a lot actually. Your first period overs have been like fire, absolute fire. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep riding them. I'm all about it. So I'm looking at a game last night. The Carolina Hurricanes they hurt me a little bit. They really hurt me to the core. Okay. So today I'm fading them and I'm going with the Pens. Both teams are right now are looking like Stanley Cup contenders, but I like the Pens 3 money line in this spot at plus 180. They're both fighting for the first spot in the Metro and East. Carolina's defense is the primary reason why they lead the East. They're leading the league in 2.38 goals per game allowed. Last 2 home games this past weekend, they only allowed 1 goal. The trends are going to change a little bit, which gets me into my next bet. Well, actually, I'm talking about my best bet of the day with the Pens 3 money line, but I know you're going to fade me on this with your best bet.
Mm-hmm.
I like the over in this spot, the over 6.5. Okay. Pittsburgh has been very impressive on the road. They're 18-6-2. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. And both teams right now are in the second half of a back to back. I think defensively, they're going to kind of not bring as much energy as they necessarily usually have in these games. Like I know their Pens defense has been a huge strength too. So Carolina's defense is first in the league. The Pittsburgh Penguins defense is fourth in the NHL with 2.60 goals against average. Offensively, They're averaging 3.2 goals per game. That's 10th in the NHL. I just see both of these teams being able to dominate offensively, and I think they're going to have some heavy legs on the defensive side. You look at the last two games that they've played against each other, there's been at least 7 goals scored in each of the last two games. The over under right now is at 6.5. I like the over at this spot. And I like the Pens through a money line. I feel like they're going to come in on the road. They're 17-5 in their last 22 road games. And I just think it's a battle of strength on strength. Both have the offensive firepower. Both of them are going to be playing backup goalies. I think a lot of goals are going to be scored. So I like the over in that spot, over 6.5. And then the other game that I was looking at was the Kings taking on the Blue Jackets. I like the Blue Jackets money line, just straight up money line at plus 132. Both teams right now are trying to make a push for the playoffs, right? The Kings have won 7 of their last 10 games. Well, guess what? The Blue Jackets have also won 7 of their last 10 games. The Kings need their offense to step up, though. They're only averaging 2.91 goals per game, and they've only scored 3 goals in their last 2 games. The defense has been strong, though. They're allowing 2.82 goals per game. And Jonathan Quick has also been pretty stellar. He has a 909 save percentage, 2.67 goals against average. But the Blue Jackets offense has been phenomenal. 3.26 goals per game. They scored 4 or more goals in 5 of the last 7 games. Their defense has been the thing that's been struggling for them. They're allowing 3.61 goals per game. And Jean-Francois Berube, I don't even know if I said that right. I'm so bad at saying his name. I always just call him Berube, is having an inconsistent season as backup. But I think that the Blue Jackets are going to come in and they're playing at home. They're going to use that home energy. I think their offense is going to carry them through. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like the Blue Jackets money line in this spot at plus 132. Now, I know it's your best bet of the day, Zeno, but I'm going to let you counter my over just really quick because I just like a little, tension right here. We got to get after, give the people the both sides of it.
Okay, well, it's not a true fade of you because I am taking the first period under 1.5 between Pittsburgh and Carolina.
Yeah, that's not a
Pittsburgh,
full fade.
no, it's
Half
not a
fade.
full fade. Pittsburgh third to last in first period overs. Carolina second to last in first period overs. So the two of the highest teams in first period unders. As you mentioned, both coming off a back-to-back. Now, these are both two amazing defenses. Pittsburgh is fourth in the NHL. Carolina is first. You mentioned the backup goaltenders. Antti Ranta, as a backup, is only giving up 2.55 goals per game. Casey DeSmith of the Pens giving just 2.99 goals against for him. So both of these guys are still very capable goaltenders. You mentioned the tired legs and how it could affect the defense. Well, I'm banking that it's going to affect the offense at least early. It may take them a period to get their legs under them. I still think we can actually hit both of these, Lauren. I think it absolutely is possible as the game goes on and legs get more tired. You may see some goals get in that normally wouldn't happen and some breakdowns on the defensive end. I think the freshest part of the defense should happen in the first period of this game, which is why I'm going to take the first period under between the Pens and the Hurricanes tonight.
Yeah, I like it. So we want the under of the first period to hit, and then we want the full game over to hit. So let's just go over our bets again. Say your 2 bets or your 3 bets again, then I'll go over mine just because we gave out a lot of different hockey
Sure.
bets.
For the NHL, I'm going to take the Minnesota Wild on the 3-way money line, and then I'll also take Minnesota Buffalo first period over as Minnesota continues to trend as one of the best first period over teams in the league, hitting the first period over 66% of the time to this point in the season.
And then he's also taking the Penguins Hurricanes first period
period
under.
Yeah,
I'm taking the full game over in that game, over 6.5. The Pens 3-way money line at plus 180. And then I also have the Kings Blue Jackets. I have the Blue Jackets money line at plus 132. All right. I know we're having Scal come on in a second. I don't know if he's here yet. Justin, is he here? Is he not here? Give me a little shout out. Not yet. Okay, we're going to talk a little college basketball first. Let's go dumpster diving, why don't we? Okay. I'll let you go dumpster diving first. So when Jared's not here, we got to go dive in the dumpsters because someone's got to dig for the garbage, okay? Who do you got tonight?
All right, I'm going to go to the Missouri Valley Conference here in the quarterfinal matchup between Loyola Chicago and Bradley. And this is a series here this year where both teams won their game on their home floor, but I'm not looking at the side here. I'm actually looking at the total of 130.5, a little bit of a contrarian over here. Both of the first 2 games between these two teams in regulation ended in the 60s under this total. Now, Bradley won the first game on their home court by 7. Loyola won their game in overtime. So a game that ended 66-66 in regulation, they won by 7 in overtime and both got into the 70s. But here's the thing, both of these offenses score in the 70s. And I know both of these defenses are pretty good, considering Loyola Chicago only gives up 62.9 points per game. But I just have a feeling here, and I always hate doing that, this is going to be a little bit more of a high-scoring affair when you get into conference play, you get into conference tournaments, I should say, that teams will come out and try to push the pace a little bit, especially in the first game. There is a little bit of concern of nerves that could really make this thing go way under the total. But after these two teams have played each other and split the regular season series, there's a commonality here, and Loyola is the better team. And so really all I need is one team to get into the 70s, and I'm banking on Loyola to be able to do that here. If they get into the 70s, I have very little concern that Bradley can get into the 60s, enough to clear what I feel is a little bit of a lower total than expected at 130.5.
Yeah, I like it. I actually really like that, and I think I'm gonna tail you on that one. So Jared always goes to the St. Bonaventure game. He loves the Bonnies. Well, guess what? I'm fading the Bonnies tonight. They're taking on Richmond. St. Bonaventure playing at home. Jared ain't here, so someone's got to do it, right? Someone's got to hold the torch. And he passed the torch to us this week while he's off. But we'll see him next week. He'll have some good college basketball dumpster dives. I know I was actually just talking to him last night, and he's like, I'm so excited for March Madness. I don't even want a day off. I'm so excited for the next 3 weeks are going to be crazy, blah, blah, blah. So he's really pumped up to be back on the show. Okay, so Richmond, St. Bonaventure, both looking to bounce back from losses, pick up momentum heading into the Atlantic 10 tournament. The Spiders, 2-game win streak was snapped. Also, how about that name for a team? The Spiders. The Bonnies had a 7-game hot streak going. They lost to VCU. I love the Bonnies when they have all of their pieces, but I can't back them knowing, give me grace here, Osuniyi might miss this game. Double check me on that pronunciation
I
because
will.
that was just brutal. I can't back them knowing that one of their best players, I'll just say that, is missing this game. They're going to have a tough time against Richmond, who beat them already once this season. Yeah, the Bonnies seem like a shoo-in for the NCAA tournament berth after coming into this season. They're coming off a great season last year. They returned every single player, and they did well at the beginning of the season, but they've been struggling in conference play a little bit. They started off conference play 4-4. Now they need to win the Atlantic 10 tourney next week to get a bid into the NCAA tourney. They have a low turnover rate. I think that's because they're one of the most experienced teams in the NCAA, but the Spiders are a threat to win every single game that they've played so far. And they've not lost consecutive games since January 2nd. They're healthy, they're experienced, they're 19th in Ken Palm in experience level, they're 71st in adjusted efficiency. They're going against Bonnie's defense that is 106 in adjusted efficiency, and they rank 9th nationally. The Spiders do in turnover rate. That experience level shows. They've covered the spread in 8 of their last 11 road games. They're going to be confident coming into this one. I like the Richmond Spiders. I hate spiders, but I like the Richmond Spiders getting 4 points tonight. And I also like their money line sprinkle at plus 150. Fade in the Bonnies. Sorry about it, Jared. It's happening. All right.
I think there was a poem. Along came a spider and sat down beside her and said, "Hey, take me on the money line."
Sprinkle the money line. Why don't you? I
Exactly.
think that's how it went, right? It was like a children's book or something.
Something like that.
Right. Let's take
Somebody
it boys to
reworded
men.
it,
Oh my
down the road.
God. Let's take it boys to men, bringing Brian Scalabrine. A lot of games on the NBA slate going on tonight. Scal, how are you today? Nice glasses. Look at you.
Yeah, I had a late night last night. Celtics, Memphis, and did you guys see the line swap on that game? Memphis was favored by 3.5, and it ended up Celtics being favored by 3.5. There was like no injuries or nothing like that, and I had to like reach out to people like you or people who are much smarter than me at this. How does something like that happen? Clearly, I watched the game. And I was like, going into that, the Celtics are a much better team than Memphis, especially in the scenario where Memphis had to travel up, but I was really surprised that it opened up like that and then did a kind of a complete 180.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Celtics, they've had a really strong February. Do you think they can capture the 4th or 5th seed? And if so, can they make a solid playoff run heading forward? Because there's only like 19, 20 games left in the season.
Hey, the way I'm looking at this, the Eastern Conference, it's all about matchups. Like I think that they're going to try to win every single game. I think they're going to play it to the end. I think they're going to stay out of the play-in. But I don't know. I don't want to play the Bucks. I don't think anybody wants to play the Bucks in the first round.
Nobody does.
Whatever they can do to avoid that. But do I think they can get up the home court advantage? Absolutely. So I think there could be a favorable matchup for them. But when the Eastern Conference final, the play-in happens, and you see all the matchups, you're going to be like, man, an absolute bloodbath. So I do think they're playing really good basketball. And Tatum has gone from a top 17 player to every night flirting with a top 5 player in the way that he is now dictating the game with the ball in his hands. So it's really fun to watch him play and grow and mature into that guy.
Mm-hmm. Dino, you got a question?
Oh, yeah, that whole thing. Hey, so Scal, you talk about the East. If you had to handicap who's going to win it right now, it's really a toss-up. I don't think Milwaukee cares about winning or being the number 1 seed in the East. I agree with you 100%. Nobody wants to play them. But I just wonder, is it Miami? Is it Chicago? Does Boston even have a shot at this thing right now? Does Brooklyn have I don't think Brooklyn has a legit chance. But if you're going to handicap who's going to win the East, and does it matter who does?
I don't think it does. I mean, and are you talking just who's going to have the number one seed?
Yeah, number 1 seed.
I think Miami, because the thing about Miami, no matter what happens, back to back, bench guys, starters out, it doesn't matter with those guys. They play a certain style every single night. They get up and down. Like, they might miss shots, but they get great shots, and everyone lets it fly. Like, their role players come in and act like superstars, from Max Strus to Tyler Hero. Like, everybody on that team, they play with an edge about them. Gabe Vincent's another one. So I think Miami is going to have the best record. But think about it. Like, the way things are trending right now, let's just say Brooklyn plays Toronto in the play-in game. Like, the Miami Heat could go throughout the whole season, and the consolation prize to having the number 1 seed is going to be Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets with Ben Simmons. Like, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. That's why, like, I get it. Like, the NBA is looking down, like, 7, 8, 9, 10. I wish there was a scenario in which we rewarded the top 2 teams in the East, like, or the top 2 teams in the West or the East, where you could actually get like almost like a first round bye. It couldn't be a 7-game series bye, but I wish there was a way in which those top seeds would like have a bigger advantage, because right now you're Miami, you do everything right, you fight hard, and you're going to get Kevin Durant coming into this thing. Like, that doesn't seem right in the way that it unfolds right now. But I do think it will be very difficult for Brooklyn. Let's just say they get in and they lose to Toronto, and then they beat, let's say, Charlotte or Atlanta, whoever it is. And then they got to play the Miami Heat. I don't think that I would pick Brooklyn to beat the Miami Heat, having 2 playing games and then have a 7-game series against that physical team.
Yeah, 2 teams that you just talked about, Miami and Brooklyn. They played last night. Miami came out on top. Kevin Durant, his first game back since like beginning mid-January, with his knee injury. 31 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Just how does he change the picture in the East right now, being back in? His first game back, he's dropping 30 points.
A lot of people think the best player in the world will be the guy that ends up going to the finals. I don't think the best player always ends up winning it all, but I do think that that's usually like a sure shot. Now, there's like some exceptions to that. Last year, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, like, those guys were banged up. And I'm one of these guys that do believe that Milwaukee still gets better as the season goes along. But man, when you watch Durant, like, you just have to look at it like, how are you going to beat him 4 times? And really, it comes down to, can Kyrie Irving not be a defensive liability? Can Ben Simmons and his free throw shooting not be an issue in the 4th quarter? So when you add all that up, if those guys could just be average to like maybe just a little bit above average, then I think the Brooklyn Nets are a beast. And once again, it just comes down to certain matchups, like who's going to do what and who's going to play where, and like all those things come into play. And home court advantage, vaccine mandates. There's so much stuff surrounding the Nets that it's hard just to say, like, yeah, well, it's not like LeBron when he was with the Cavs back in the day, where you just kind of penciled him in going to the finals.
Yes.
It's very different now.
Scal, let's flip it to the West. The Denver Nuggets going to get back Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray here before the playoffs. Is that a thing enough that they could make more noise than expected in the West, or is it just not enough to make them matter between Phoenix and Golden State?
I do like the Denver Nuggets. I saw Jamal Murray work out. Denver was in town, I think 2 weeks ago, and Jamal Murray was going hard against his assistant coaches and getting into the body. It wasn't like he was just going through like a BS workout. He was getting after it, right? So I'm thinking the same way you are, right? Well, so you already have this good team. They've learned to play without this. The one problem with Denver, bad 4th quarter net rating. Why? They can't score down the stretch. Like, Jokic is the guy, but he's not like, all right, give him the ball and he'll win you the game with his offense. They need the best version of Jamal Murray. Now, the question I have would just be, we saw Jamal Murray in the bubble, whatever amount of years ago. He was phenomenal. And we saw Jamal Murray at times, like he's one of the most unstoppable players when he has it going. Are we banking with 16 games, 17 games remaining that Jamal Murray is going to be able to flip a switch and go back to that? I'm not sure. But I think if the Denver Nuggets could get through the first round, whatever the hiccups are, and Jamal Murray can get his legs under him, I do think they'll have a better chance of winning. You guys been watching Jokic. The man is dropping dimes and dudes aren't even making shots. Like, I just feel like Jamal Murray is exactly what they need. So I think it could be a good bet. I wouldn't pick them to win it all, but if you wanted to flirt, I love these bets where you pick Denver to go to the finals and somehow they end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then you can kind of hedge the bet and act like how you want to go, so you're going to be able to come out on top, because obviously the odds change as teams advance through the playoffs.
Yeah, I like it. Let's shift conversation for a second to MVP talk. So at the beginning of the season, you gave us Steph Curry is your favorite to win MVP, right? And the current favorite right now, Joel Embiid. Do you think that now that Harden is on the Sixers, Embiid can kind of take a step back, focus on the team winning, and allow someone else to win MVP? Or do you think he really wants to win that MVP position?
I don't think he has to, I agree with what you're saying. Like, you have to make a sacrifice to win MVP, and sometimes you have to be selfish to win MVP. I think at this point in time where he's at in the season, I don't think he has to make that sacrifice. I don't think he has to be selfish. I just think he has to be out there, and he has to be out there playing. And James Harden has accentuated his skill set to put 2 on Harden sometimes, which allowing Embiid to shine. So I think this thing is a lock at this point. So, I mean, the numbers would suggest it is. I don't know what could happen for there to be a change in this. So I think Embiid, go ahead.
Let me give you this scenario. Chicago wins the East, doesn't win the East, gets the number 1 seed in the East, and Joel Embiid falls out of top position in the scoring title. Is that enough to get DeRozan over the top?
There's let me tell you how the media, the voters work, right?
Well, they're dummies.
They're not the smartest people in the world in the sense, like last year, think about it. Last year, it was hands down, Jokic was the MVP. Everyone that knows basketball knows the man played, I think he played 72 of the 72 games. Embiid missed like 17. Yet there was still a discussion about Joel Embiid being MVP. So because of last year, you go forward this year, it's like we're anointing him. That's why I'm not on DeMar DeRozan or John Morant. Now, if you want to have a conversation about who's going to finish in the top 5, and there was some odds on finishing in the top 5, I think that conversation, you can even have the conversation of who's going to finish in the top 3 in voting. I think those are more compelling bets. But last year, people loved Embiid, and now this year, he is 10 times better than he was last year. He's playing, he's making bigger impact. You have the sympathy vote with Ben Simmons sitting out the entire year. So I don't see a scenario in which Embiid doesn't win it. Now, let's move forward next year. Doesn't it seem like Ja Morant is going to be the favorite going into the following year?
Yeah.
So it kind of like, you got to kind of like hit that first where you get on everybody's radar, and then a couple of people say that, oh, he should be the MVP, and then the following year you win it. So that's kind of where I feel like Embiid is at this year.
Scal, I'm on a 10-1 ticket for DeRozan to win it, so I have a little.
No, I mean, you can hope for but see, that's the problem. You're betting on media people, like the worms and snakes in the media that do things for agents and teams and access. It's not like legit, even though watch DeRozan play, he's out there and everyone else is hurt, yet he's still delivering. Like if it was just about that, I like your 10-1 ticket, but man, never trust the worms and snakes in the media.
Yeah. Last night, the Atlanta Hawks were able to limit DeRozan to under 30 points, and DeRozan's kind of been their Achilles heel this season because they had their number 3-0 going into this 4th game of the series between the two this season. But a game you're on tonight, the Hawks taking on the Wizards. You like the Wizards and the points?
So last night, they asked me, I got to write out what I think is going to happen, and I send in my bets yesterday, and I picked the Atlanta Hawks. I knew they were going to win that game. I just knew it. I knew they were going to take care of business. But you got Trae Young, you got the ankle. He wasn't going to play, then he did play, and he has a big night. Today seems like a big time letdown for Atlanta. Sorry, but I do think Washington
right now.
I think Washington's going to be good. I do think it's going to be a close game, but I don't know, man. Right now I got it at 4, unless the number has changed. That's
It just changed to 4.5. It does not
oh,
I
that's
mean,
even
listen,
better. So yeah,
Sal, I
I
wrote
think
this game
Washington
up
takes
for
care
our
of it tonight.
Pickswise website, and this was the exact pick that I made. I'm backing the Wizards tonight. And remember, this line opened at 2.5. And so it's steamed to 4 already because a lot of quick public money came in on the Hawks on a short number. Here's a stat for you. Teams on a back-to-back that are favored this year against teams with 2 days rest are only covering 35% of the time. I agree with you. Huge letdown spot. Again, I wrote this on the Pickswise website. Not only am I backing the Wizards with the points, I'm also putting them on the money line for an outright win tonight. A huge letdown spot for a very inconsistent Hawks team that's going to be missing clearly John Collins on the defensive end. And really, the only formula for the Hawks to win any game without John Collins is for Trae Young to score like 39 or more. If he doesn't have that kind of night, they don't have an offense that can win. If he's only in the mid-20s, which is, again, a very good night in the NBA, but if he plays to his average, they don't have a shot to win because they don't get enough scoring from everybody else in this spot here. Washington is a weird team in that they're 21st in the league in points per game, yet they're 8th in the league in field goal percentage. They shoot almost 47% from the field. So, this is a team that will play a little bit of a slower pace, but make the shots that they do. And again, I just like them in the spot where they are tonight, Scal. I'm with you 100%.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
When you go into this game immediately, before you did all your information research, right? Do you look at it and say, this is interesting, and then you start diving into it? Or do you go in with a blank slate and look at both sides and figure it out?
Well, I always look for back-to-backs because there's always an advantage there, right? So whenever you have a team on a back-to-back, the deck is stacked in one direction versus the other. So you always look at that. But, again, when I first saw the line at 2.5, I knew it was too short. And from the standpoint of the Hawks are from a talent standpoint, markedly better than Washington, and that number should have been bigger. And the fact that it was short told me Washington was going to keep it close. Some of that is the back-to-back, but also some of that is the injury to Trae, who, by the way, wrong side last night, thought that the Trae injury would slow him down and took the under. Yeah, didn't happen. I was
just a casual 39-point, 13 assist night. It's
remember, it was 235 for crying out loud. I'm like, I'm good. I got 115, 120 to 114. It makes me a winner. Nonetheless, and I'm with you that Trae, as I understand it, there was still swelling on his foot, on his ankle last night after the game. He might, there might be a part of them that says that let's just rest him tonight because, again, we have to have him for the stretch run. But also, is there a motivation factor for Washington, who's only behind them for a game for the 10th and final playoff spot?
For
Washington's been great at home let me rephrase, not great at home against the number, not great at home. They're a 500 team at home. But, if that's that when I see that situation back to back going on the road against a team that's well rested for what theoretically is a playoff spot type of game because they can tie them in the standings. Yeah. I'm going to back Washington all the way.
Another game, Scal, that you're on, the Knicks money line.
Yeah.
Phoenix. Tell me more.
You got no Devin Booker, no Chris Paul. Like, the Knicks are struggling. They need something. They're going on the road. The weather is good. I got like a lot of different things going into this. And the Phoenix Suns, like there's like an expiration date on when your best players go out. Like I've been a role player or like a non-rotational player that gets those opportunities. Mm-hmm. There are certain games where like if you just like if it's a skill game and the game was wide open, like we were playing a wide open team and we're in those environments, say, yeah, you know what, we're going to continue to go on this. But I think the physicality of the Knicks is going to catch up to the Suns tonight. Like Chris Paul makes up for a lot. Devin Booker makes up for a lot. So I like the Knicks to actually go in there and win this game. Big underdogs. But I got the money line at plus 230. So I just think the Knicks are going to win this game. Like not, and it's going to be one of those things where it's like, all right, we beat the Phoenix Suns, and it's not going to mean anything long term, but it's going to mean a lot to them right now.
You're just a sick man. I wish you well. I'm a Knicks fan. I have absolutely no confidence to back that team in anything. I was dumb enough to back them against Philadelphia and take the under in the game, figuring that the number was going to inflate after the 2 first games that Philadelphia had with Harden, and it did. And of course, the Knicks have a lead for like 2.5 quarters, and then they end up losing. They suck.
Zeno, you have one more bet tonight too. You're on the Pels.
I am. Look, I mean, how hot? Break me up some New Orleans Pelicans here. 3-0 since the start of the break, averaging over 122 points per game, giving up less than 100 per game. They're getting a Utah Jazz team that comes in winners of 3 in a row, and probably is going to. I feel like they're going to take this Pelicans team a little bit lightly. I mean, this offense all of a sudden is a little bit different with CJ McCollum. The Jazz this year overall have not been a great spread team, just 27, 32, and 1 against the number here. So I like the Pelicans getting 4.5 at home. Not 100% sure they're going to win it. I mean, not enough to take them on the money line, even though it's not a bad price at plus 155. But I just love what the Pelicans have done since the start of the break. I think their winning streak continues, and I'll back me some New Orleans Pelicans until they tell me otherwise.
That's a great call. They're going to run Rudy Gobert off the floor.
Yeah.
If Rudy Gobert doesn't get back, the Jazz are like the 30th best defensive team. When he does get back, they're like a top 5 defensive team. So no, that's a great call. And I love the way the Pelicans are playing. And they have motivation. They want to be ahead of the Lakers.
Yeah.
That's all, folks. The Anthony Davis trade.
Look who's on the 10 line right now, baby. Look
There's
who's
a lot
on
of
the 10
motivation for
line.
those guys.
Last question for me, Scal. Your thoughts on the Lakers right now with the players getting into it with the fans? It's just kind of a mess right now a little bit, right?
I told you 4 months ago, that thing is over. It's over. And it's over not just this year. It's over next year. It's the next year and next year. Hey, the good thing about the Lakers, LeBron chasing greatness, just a kid from Akron trying to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's all it's about right now. You can make it about other things. LeBron is getting his stats so he can one day, like whenever it comes, he's going to pass Kareem. He's going to make sure that he's in that position. This has nothing to do with the Lakers winning. I'm not even sure they want to go. If they drop the 10th and they got to play the Pels in the playing game, I'm not sure who's on that plane or not. They might be load managing to try to get out this season, get ready for next season.
Scal, I wanted to ask you, like, what's more embarrassing for the Lakers to miss the playoffs altogether or lose the playing game to a New Orleans Pelican team without Zion Williamson sort of scenario? Because I think it's the latter.
I think it's the latter too, especially because the Anthony Davis situation makes it embarrassing. You know, like if Anthony Davis is healthy, he has to go to New Orleans. He wore the shirt that said, "That's all, folks. Like, I'm out of here. Hey, we're not good enough." Now, listen, they won the Bubble Summer League Championship, so give them credit for that. But the situation moving forward, like I went through the picks today. Like David Griffin, like I know he's having his problems with Zion, but he's got to be one of the happiest guys in the NBA because he owns like their picks and where are they going from here. So if New Orleans fans are mad at Anthony Davis, the trade, all the stuff that's surrounding all this, LeBron saying I would have got rid of those guys, where New Orleans is at right now, they're winning. They're 500 since the start of the season. So I think it's a little embarrassing for the Lakers to get on that plane and go there and lose. If that's what I don't know if that would happen, and we'll have to play it out, see how motivated the Lakers are. But come on, this is like the Super Bowl for the Pelicans.
Scal, we so appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. We'll be chatting with you next week too.
You're the best.
Got it. See ya.
Thank you. All
that
right,
was awesome. The Summer League Invitational Championship. Wow.
That's so great. I know. If you almost just like spit out your water there for a second.
I mean, I was not expecting that. They won the Summer League Bubble Invitational. I mean, wow. Man,
dagger right there. Absolute dagger. Let's get to our Pickswise.com website, our 3-star play of the day. Zeno, who we got today?
Listen, I'm going to give him out again because the last 2 times I gave him out, this guy has been absolutely money. Philip Tomic tonight going with the under in Milwaukee and Chicago under 239. His 3-star play of the day. His last 3 or 4 3-star picks have hit, at least the ones I've given out, have all been spot on the NBA. Philip has been red hot when it comes to the NBA. So he's going under 239 in the Bucks and Bulls game tonight in Chicago.
Red hot, almost like your last 5 play of the day picks. So hit me with who you got, because maybe tonight, knock on wood, we'll make it numero 6.
Yes, let's hope so. I am going to take a first period under tonight between the Pittsburgh Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Pittsburgh is 3rd best in first period unders this year. Carolina 2nd best in first period unders. Both these teams coming off a back-to-back played last night. Pittsburgh, a tough win in Tampa Bay, and Carolina also another tough game last night. Now you're probably getting backup goaltenders, but both of these teams defensively, Carolina number 1 in the league, Pittsburgh number 4 in the league. Both of these backup goaltenders in this game. Casey DeSmith for Pittsburgh, just a 2.9 goals against, and Antti Ranta of the Hurricanes, 2.5 goals against. So I'm banking on the fact, once again, we're going to get a very low scoring first period, some tired legs, not a lot of offense, under 1.5 in the first period between the Hurricanes and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, again, like I'm also that wow, words. I'm also on that game for my best bet of the day. The Pens three-way money line at plus 180. Okay. Carolina's defense, like you were saying, is the primary reason why they lead the East. They're allowing a league best 2.38 goals per game. In the last two home games this past weekend, they allowed only one goal total. It's pretty incredible. Pittsburgh, impressive on the road this season. They're 18-6-2. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. And both teams on the second half of a back-to-back, there is going to be some tired legs. The Canes got crushed by the Caps yesterday. I think that, yeah, this could be a bounce back spot for them, but it's not going to be because the Pens smoke the Lightning and they're going to be able to smoke the Canes. Actually, I don't think they'll smoke the Canes. I think it's going to be a really close game, actually. But the Pens defense has been huge too, and I think that they're going to carry them through. They're ranked 4th in the NHL with a 2.60 goals against average, offensively averaging 3.2 goals per game, 10th in the NHL. The Pittsburgh has one of the best 1-2 punches for me in Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. And I just think that with the two backup goalies, there's going to be a lot of goals scored. Yeah, the first period under will hit, and then the entire game over is going to hit. But I just look at, the Pens, they've won 4 of their last 5 games playing on no rest. They're 17-5 in their last 22 road games. And it's just a battle of strength on strength at this point. I like the Pens. They're going to come into Carolina. They're going to ride the firepower that they had last night against Tampa Bay, and they're going to be able to get it done in regulation. 3-way money line plus 180 against the Canes on Canes home ice. Lock it in, baby. Let's go. But it'd be amazing if all of our bets hit tonight.
Both ice picks today, LJ. I mean, we're in sync right now, which is always good. We got to keep the synergy going, keep the energy going high,
keep the synergy, keep the energy. I'm rooting for you and your best bet to make it 6 tonight. But that is it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Mark Zinno. I'm Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, you guys. We'll see you all tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.